Hello everyone, welcome back to Pyleap course. So in this video lesson, I'm going to talk about collide function and how to speed score in game development. So for that, I'm going to do a simple project that is a snake game, and this game works something like this. If I press any navigation key, it moves as per the direction, and when I touch this gold coin, then the gold coin gets hidden for some time, and it will reappear in random position. And the score gets updated. When the score reaches to 10, then the game gets over and the message like you won pops up. So I've made it a little bit simple. My main motives here is to teach how this collide function works and how to update a score. So let's begin. So for this snake game, I have not used images, and I'm not even using a sound. Maybe you can improve your project at the end by importing some sound and all. To make my video short, I'm not using all those things. For that, I've already written my Pyleap code structure and it's already working fine, and I saved my file as a snake game. First thing is I want to set a window caption. So you will see that snake games pops up as a window caption. And the next thing is I will set a window size, and I want to make it a default one, so width of 640 by a height of 480, and it's working fine. I want to draw a snake, so for that I will use a rectangle class. So I will name this as a snake, and then I will pass a rectangle class. And here initially I want to draw the snake game in the middle, so for that I will use the middle point. X coordinates of 320 and Y coordinates of 240, and the width of the snake I'll make it around 15 and the height 10. So the color of the snake I want to make it black. So let me draw the snake here. Okay, I was not able to see because the background color and the snake color is same. So before that, let me also draw a canvas for game. So for that I will also use a rectangle class, all width and height of the default canvas. So 640, I will use the window size, and here the color I want to pass black, and I want to replace this with white. So let me also draw a canvas here. Yeah, now we are able to see our canvas as well as a snake. So the next thing is I want to draw a gold. So for that I will name this as a gold. For that I will use a circle class. So I want this gold to appear in random position whenever whenever I start this game. So for that I will be also using another model that is a random model. So you need to import a random model here from random import star. So from this random model I'm going to use only a one method, that is randint. So what this randint does is it will automatically pick a random integer from this given range. So I will use from 0 to 640 because the width of an canvas is 640. That usually what we do is for circle we pass x coordinates, y coordinates, and then the radius, and then color of a circle. So what I'm doing is, rather than directly giving a static x coordinates here, I am passing a random integer. That means it will automatically pick a value from 0 till 640, and then even for y-axis I'm going to pick a random integer. So these random integers comes from this random model, and even for this I want to pick from 0 to 480 because our canvas is from 0 to 480 regarding y-axis. So let me pass 480 here, and then for the radius I want to give a static value, so maybe a radius of 10, and then the color I want to make it yellow. So let's draw our gold here, gold.draw. Okay, let's see whether it works or not. Now you see when I'm running my game, this gold is drawn somewhere here. So it has picked you see x coordinates of 259 and y coordinates of 460. So if I close and run it again it will pick a different location. You see now it is somewhere here. Now it has picked x coordinates of 347 and y coordinates of 348. This is how a random integer works, because you see it will automatically pick a random value from 0 to 640 and from 0 to 480. So I think now you are clear about this random value. This one is a command. So now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to animate like the movement of my snake. So for that I will obviously use a keyboard event. So I think you are much familiar about this keyboard event, and if you need like more explanation, I think I will recommend you to watch my earlier videos on fish game. So for that I'm going to use one condition, like if key dot, maybe we'll start with right one. If key dot right key is pressed, so I want to move my fish towards x-axis, like snake dot, maybe I'll increase the value by 2. So let's see whether this works or not. So now like when I press the right key, my snake is moving towards right. So but nothing happens when I press other navigation key. So let's also include a code for this other navigation keys. I'll just copy and paste this. So here I want to include left. So when I'm pressing a left direction, so my snake should move towards the left, so I should decrease the value by 2. And then when I'm pressing upward arrow, then snake should move up. That means obviously I need to increase the y value, so I will increase the y value by 2. And when I press downward arrow, then I need to decrease the y value. Snake.y, I need to decrease by 2. So let's check whether this works or not. Now you see, like when I press left arrow, then my snake is coming towards left, and when I press upward arrow, my snake is moving up. Similarly down, right, it's working perfectly fine. But nothing is happening when I touch this, like when I touch this goal. So let's write a collide function for this. Like as soon as when this snake touches, then this goal should get hidden for some time and reappear in another location. So for that, let's write a function for collide. To apply a collide function, what you need to do is you have to also use a if condition. So for that, if the snake collides with the goal, then first thing is let me take this goal to different location in a random position. So for that I want to change the goal dot x coordinates to random integer. Maybe I'll pass the same value here, copy and then paste. What this does is as soon as when snake collides with goal, then the goal will go to random position, like x coordinates from 0 to 640. And then similarly I also want to apply the same thing for y coordinates. So y random integer from 0 to 480. Okay, so let's check whether this works or not. Let me run this code. Invalid syntax. Oh, I've added extra. Okay, now you see, like when I press right arrow, my snake is moving. But you see, as soon as when snake touches a goal, goals get hidden for some time and it's reappearing from random position. So that means our collide function is working perfectly fine. So now the next thing is, what I want to do is when my snake touches a goal, I also want to increase the length of my snake. So for that, what you can do is it should come under the same conditions, like when the snake collides with a goal. So what I can do is I want to increase the width of a snake. So snake.width, to increase the snake width, so what you can do is snake.w, that means this w stands for the width of a snake. And if you want to increase the height, you can replace here with the h. So right now I want to increase the width only, so I will use snake.width. So I want to increase the snake.width by around 10 pixels. So let's see whether this works or not. Yeah, it's working. You see, like the width of my snake is increasing. But you see, like when I'm pressing upward arrow, my snake is not rotating. So only for x-axis it's working perfectly fine. But you see, when I'm moving up and down, my snake is not rotating. So for that, let me also rotate my snake. So for that, initially I want to set the snake rotation to 0. So that means as soon as when game starts, so the rotation of my snake will be 0. When my snake moves towards the right, I want to make this like a rotation to 180. I want to make the same thing for even for the left movement. And then for upward arrow, I want to make my snake 90 degree. And then for even for the downward arrow, I want to make my snake 90 degree. So let's check whether this rotation works or not. Okay, it's increasing the width. Now you see my rotation works perfectly. The next thing that I'm going to do is, as soon as when snake touches a goal, then I need to update the score. So for that, let's write a code for our score. So initially I want to declare a score as 0. So score, as soon as when game starts, the score should be set to 0. So to display a score, declare a text method inside a function. So for that I will use text, then the text should be score, and here you need to pass another string, that is string dot score. This score comes from here. Why we are using a concatenation of string here? Because as soon as when snake touches a goal, then score gets updated and automatically it should pass here. So you will see the functionality later. So the next thing is the position of a score. So maybe x-axis of 5 and then y-axis of around 450. That means it will display on the top of the canvas. And the size, I want to make it 15, and the text should be in white in color. So don't forget to include dot draw here, because we are not declaring this text function outside our main function. Since we are declaring this text inside our function, you should include this draw here so that you will be able to see your score text there. So let's see whether this works or not. Okay, now you see score is equal to 0. It's working fine. This 0 comes from here. You see this 0 is coming from here because initially we have declared our score as 0. So but nothing will happen when we touches a goal, our score is not updating. So now we need to write a code where it should update a score. So for that we can include inside this collide function. So when snake collides with goal, I also want to increase the score. Not only that goal should go in random position and snake width should increase. So to update a score, you need to call that score, and then score should update by 1. That means initially this score is, you see initially it will be 0. So as soon as when snake collides with goal, then this 0 plus 1 it becomes a 1. So it keeps on updating as soon as when snake collides with goal. So let's check whether this works or not. I got some error. Local variable score reference before assignment. Okay, so I was not able to reference this score. So maybe I'll make this variable global. So for that you can use global. So for that you can use a global score. So it simply means that the score that you have declared here is making global. That means it will be accessed from anywhere inside a function as well as from outside a function. Now we don't get an error. Okay, you see my score is getting updated now. As soon as when I touch a goal, my score is getting updated, and at the same time the width of a snake is also increasing and the position of the goal is also changing randomly. Now the last thing I want to show the end of a game, if the score reaches to a certain limit, then I want to stop a game. So for that I also want to write one condition. Okay, for that if score, maybe let's try with 5. Okay, if score reaches to 5, then I want to display one text. Maybe I will use the same thing. Copy. I want to use a text, but it's not a score text. I want to display you won, and the position should be in the center. I want to display the text in the center, maybe at 250 by 200. And then the size of a text I want to increase towards 30. Let's see whether this works or not. Okay, now score 1. Okay, you get a text, isn't it? You won. That means it's working fine. The only thing is I need to hide this goal and at the same time this snake. So maybe when the score reaches to 5, you won message should be popped up. And the last thing is I want to change the scale, a goal dot scale. I want to make it 0. That means the size of a goal will be 0. That means you won't be able to see it. And then snake dot scale should be 0. So now let's see whether this works or not. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Yeah, it's working perfectly. So that's all for this video, and we'll see you in the next video lesson.